We want to bring the events that are happening in the world from a biblical perspective and also a prophetic perspective, so that you and I can understand
no one can stand
going on here. And what I want to talk about this week is involved in running for president of the United States, and they can't stand her. Remember what the Lord said, when you see all these things begin to happen, look up, lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near. Hey guys, I am here on the top of the Golan Heights, and I am looking down behind me into Syria. And I wanted to get up here and give you an update on what's going on about Syria and how much Israel has taken as far as the buffer zone and even past the buffer zone into Syria for their own protection. As you know, the Assad regime fell, and we got this one old boy, Ahmed Hussein al-Shara, that has now become the defunct or de facto leader of Syria, and he's Al-Qaeda, ISIS, so he's nothing but a terrorist. He's even come out and said he's going to be a more inclusive jihadist, whatever that means, I don't know. But anyway, it's definitely a problem for Israel. It's good in one sense that the Bashar al-Assad regime has been gone. We have indications that Assad gave Israel all the indications of where the weapons caches were and the chemical weapons were. And so he gave them a list, went on his way out, and Israel went and destroyed a lot of that, destroyed part of their Syrian Navy, whatever they had, the small Navy vessels. They destroyed all the military infrastructure. They've done an amazing job, and they had to do it because they needed security. And of course, again, you can't trust these so-called inclusive jihadists. I don't know if there's such a thing as that. It's like saying flaming snowballs. But anyway, what Israel has done, I want to be able to show you, is they've went and taken not only the buffer zone that was between them and Syria, they've went past it. So if I can show you a little bit on the mountain range, you have where I'm standing is the first range of mountains on the Golan Heights, and then just behind me is the second mountain range, and that's where the buffer zone's at. And then Israel went past it to this third mountain range that you see here, and that's past the buffer zone into Syria. So they're controlling Syria. And even as I speak, there's some dark clouds over there, so it looks like there's some type of fighting or something's going on over there. Then the other part I want to show you is to my right, which is north of me, is Mount Hermon. And Mount Hermon, if I can take you over here, Israel has extended its borders with Mount Hermon. Because it was controlled, half of the range of Mount Hermon was controlled by Israel. And then now Israel has expanded and they're controlling all of Mount Hermon, which Syria used to control. So now they have control of the entire Mount Hermon, which is a huge advantage for Israel militarily and gives them a more buffer zone. And this is what Israel needs. And so in a lot of ways, the face of the Middle East has changed in many regards to benefit Israel, and thank God for that. But we do know what Scripture talks about, that eventually you have the destruction of Damascus. We don't know when that will happen, when that will occur, but in the future, Damascus in Syria will completely be eliminated according to Isaiah 17. We don't know if that's related to Psalm 83 invasion. We don't know if that's related to Gog and Magog. It's just kind of standing out there as far as prophecy is concerned. But anytime you're dealing with Syria, you got to remember Damascus and the destruction of Damascus. So anyway, the other thing I want to talk about is, okay, what happens from here now? Well, we're not sure, and Israel's not sure. They're doing everything they can to secure their areas and secure their borders, and they're moving into Syria. As you know, in Lebanon, they were taking out Hezbollah and taking out all their weapons caches and all their infrastructure, and they've dismantled a lot of Hezbollah. But Hezbollah still exists. They have to push up to the Litani River and create a buffer zone between them and Hezbollah and them and the Lebanese army. And you know, I don't know if they can really trust the Lebanese army to handle anybody because they're a pretty weak army. But Israel is trying to get militarily secure. But at the same time, the rebels that have taken over Syria, these former Al-Qaeda, former ISIS types of individuals, they're backed up by Turkey. And so Erdogan is expressing his dominance and wanting, create this Ottoman Empire, the second coming of the Ottoman Empire, whatever you want to call it. And he's flexing his muscles and told them to go ahead and take Damascus and take over. So they're flexing their muscles. So Turkey's involved, and so Israel is aware of that. And then I read one article that said Qatar might be involved as well. And Qatar is another major funder of terrorism around the world, like Iran is. So you got to watch out for Qatar. And so if they're involved, and you got Turkey involved, and then you still have a mess here. It's not fixed, right? So Bashar Assad now is gone, but so what? You got another creepy guy, evil guy that's a jihadist and probably wants to kill Jewish people and create some type of caliphate. That's their mentality. That's what Israel's dealing with. So yeah, we're excited that Israel is taking more area and more buffer zone to protect themselves, but there's an inevitable war going to happen in Syria. Something's going to have to happen to this front. You can't let a jihadist just take over and say he's going to be a moderate and he's going to be kind of like Al-Qaeda 2.0 and I'm a more moderate type of Islamic jihadist. You can't buy that. So, who knows what this will turn into? I don't know. But you definitely know that Trump's back in office and Trump is willing to let Israel tater chip, let her rip through the area, and he'll let them do whatever they need to do and supply them. So that's a good thing. But again, we don't know all that's going to be involved. And one thing I think I can say about this is this continues to lead Israel into a prolonged war. They're trying to get militarily secure, but this is not going to happen overnight. It's going to be prolonged and it's going to be involved. And then the more secure Israel becomes, the more their enemies outside get angrier and angrier at them, like Russia, like Iran, like Turkey. And obviously, that sets up the Gog and Magog alliance and the international court, calling Netanyahu a war criminal and the IDF a war criminal. It's going to stoke up more of that as Israel becomes more militarily secure. So I think where this leads eventually, and I don't know how far into the future this is, but it leads into Psalm 83 invasion and then eventually the Gog of Magog invasion. So, again, the timing, all that is in God's hands, but what I'm telling you is Israel's fighting wars on many, many fronts, 7 at least in counting. And Syria is another front. It's another problem. So continue to pray for Israel. Let's watch and see what things develop and watch how the end times get set up.